This is for our baby. From Jordan to Macau.